everyone to our event tonight where we honor 5 longtime members of the Haddam-Killingworth High School community. And by long time, we mean long time. Put together, these 5 individuals have given more than 150 years of service to Regional School District 17. That's a truly remarkable accomplishment. I think everybody else in the room who's still teaching can understand that, because that is how we feel this year. No, I'm just kidding. In any event, we're here to recognize these people one by one for their contributions to the kids, parents, and colleagues at HK. So without further delay, let's begin with our first honoree, Peg Langer. Peg Langer joined District 17 in 2001 as a paraprofessional but has been part of Haddam-Killingworth High School in many capacities over the years. Peg even taught 7th through 9th grade math at Haddam Junior High School in 1970. She wasn't my teacher. Additionally, she was a substitute teacher for many years as well. Most importantly, Peg is the mom to 4 HK graduates. In retirement, we all want to wish Peg many years of health and happiness with her husband Rich and their children and grandchildren, and lots of time for quilting. Thank you, Peg, for the lilies of the valley each spring, the cookies at holiday time, and the many years of dedicated service. I would like to invite Marie Memoriam to present our gift to Peg.
So just a little something for Peg to help her spend her time and keep herself busy while she's not with us at HK.
Thank you. It's been my honor to be fortunate enough to be hired so many times. And I've been very lucky because HK's needs have been what I needed to at the time that I went back to the various positions that I've held. I still say that I'm the most hired person ever in the district. Thank you all.
Next up is Karen Porter. Karen has taught at Regional School District 17 for 36 years. During that time, she has taught at the middle school and high school, and she has been department head. Thank you, KP, for many years of service. We all hope to spend many relaxing days at the beach and in your garden. Enjoy the time with your adorable dogs. We wish you the best. I would like to invite Marian Grimaldi up to present Karen with a token of our appreciation and friendship.
Okay, we'll start with the bling. I knew just what she wanted. She has the dress to go with the bag. Tiffany blue. But I promised her only 3 sentences, but I went over 3 sentences, so hang in there. Okay. I told you I would make it brief. It is brief. It's large print, so it's not too bad. Congratulations on a wonderful and colorful 36-year career as an art educator. And it has been colorful. It's been a privilege to work with you and learn from you as well. I met Karen in 1990 and we had a blast teaching art down in the B Wing. You're both an exemplar teacher and a leader, and we've shared a lot of great times. Some of those times are Chicago, I won't tell you all the details, New Orleans, Houston, our field trips to New York and Boston, our bus accident in New York City, Broadway plays and museum visits, Celebration of Excellence ×3. Karen's been the Connecticut Art Administrator of the Year, National Board Certified, and that goes along with the chickens. Remember the chickens?
Yes, the chicken!
And playing pool. We have lots of secrets. She's one of the top scorers, even though we talked about chickens. Mentoring new teachers and taking on student teachers. We did lots of walking and talking. Some of you are around long enough to remember that Karen, Joan, and I used to walk around the parking lot and the driveway, and we would generate lots of fun ideas down in the B wing. And Karen's just been great leading the department district-wide as well as school-wide. I know you'll have a great retirement. I know I'm going to see her. She's going to go to the beach, hopefully. We have plans for that. Long walks, spending time with Lexi, her beautiful daughter back there. And of course, painting. Karen is a wonderful, wonderful painter. I have several paintings in my house. I'm very fortunate. And again, congratulations. I love you and I miss you.
People who've put this on and all the many people who have come tonight. It's just a wonderful evening. Thank you.
The next person we honor is not here tonight. Carla Reilly, a longtime PE and health teacher, is retiring from Haddam-Killingworth High School and prefers to celebrate privately with her family. We wish her well and thank her for her many years of dedicated service to RSD 17. Cavrell. Carla Cavrell is retiring after 37 years at Haddam-Killingworth High School. He joined the science department in 1977 and has served the students of RSD 17 in many capacities. While teaching biology has been the main focus of Carl's career, you may not be aware that he also taught the science of cosmetology. That was a program that existed at the high school, and he actually learned how to kick a perm in the process. This is good material, right? He has coached soccer. He is the one and only gymnastics coach for HKHS. He's the chief vampire of the blood drives. And he's the student council advisor. He was a mentor teacher and mentored none other than Heather Tooker when she was beginning her career here. It is with great pleasure that we celebrate him tonight, and here to honor his friend and colleague is Jim Daniels, former science department head.
Well, I've come to talk about Carl Cavrell. Carl's life started in a leafy green Long Island town, and in this rhyme, I hope to capture his renown. At times, the esoteric topics will narrow down. Those who understand will be just a few, but don't frown. I'm happy in my work to play the clown. In high school, he was a stone who gathered no moss, as he mastered the horse, rings, and iron cross. If you don't recognize those gymnastic events, they are a big part of Carl's life and what it represents. For he is the smallest of already small percents of great athletes and great coaches. There are no dissents. Add to those athletic accomplishments that he's a great teacher and a great person. That's my 2 cents. Carl came to Connecticut and climbed Wesleyan's Hill, his bright future there to fulfill. He studied hard and not to pour it on too thick. Played a sport with Native American roots and a stick. With a teammate who was a guy called Bill Belichick, who remembers Carl as nimble on the field and quick. After a brief stint at a school that was quite hippy-dippy, Carl saw the glint of HK and was here in a jiffy. He could have chosen, but didn't, some other place like Mississippi. Instead, he came to make an imprint on our students with teaching that wasn't skimpy. 1977 was the start of Carl's HK stint, and except at meetings, he was never sleepy. I'll say that again. 1977 was the start of Carl's HK stint, and except at meetings, he was never sleepy. He'll keep his hand in a few things, but from HK, he'll be an escapee. Let's review some of Carl's teaching chronology. It's not just as a teacher of biology. A part of his varied teaching dossier was a course he pioneered called DNA. It prepared students for our state's recombinant industry, a future few others than Carl could foresee. There are more courses that are both unique and varied that kept Carl quite busy and harried. When teaching astronomy, he knew it was a must to be careful how he used the term, a rocket's pounds of thrust. His past AP students might think of him as Simon Legree, but on this, all his students would surely agree. His expectations made a student's life not hassle-free, and many went on to get a science degree. With a lifetime of good memories, I guarantee, and more achievements to come, you just wait and see. Carl's other activities are recognized statewide by those in the know for helping people with a gift they can bestow. Now here's a private joke for bio folks. It's apropos. And across their face, a smile will soon show. Folks come here and type us about our factor regarding rhesus. No, that's not whether we can do telekinesis. For the rest of us, here's a better hint, although you might not recognize the importance of A, B, AB, or the almost universal O. Those typing folks are from the American Red Cross, who know Carl's blood drives on their own secret sauce. For students, it was a very big perk that for other extracurriculars, Carl wasn't just a clerk. Some Saturday nights, Carl would have to work, eyeing a sea of dancers, doing a grind and twerk. Lest you think that Carl is a jerk, and across your face will come a smirk, do not seek reproach and go berserk, and add Carl's name to DCF casework. To make him retreat in his own personal Dunkirk. Instead, just beam yourself down like Captain Kirk to a student council dance, a job Carl would never shirk. Enduring memories include Carl's neat desk and nothing that was ever grotesque. At Yule time, he would put over his doorway a symbol that showed his mind was really quite nimble. After using our science prop that came from near the Ganges, Carl stuffed a model rocket in a garment that was meant for the lower flanges. You see, another name for a rocket is missile, and the flanges, the lower flanges especially, are the toes. So in December, the doorway held mistletoe, and Carl's legend grows. Carl's HK tenure is also known for a few more things, as he endured education's wild theoretical swings. From the good old days to a nation at risk, through the block, and today's accountability, Carl had cojones, a style that was brisk, knew when it was a crock, and kept his virility. Speaking of virility, it must be noted that fatherhood by Carl certainly has been promoted. With this, he partners with Melissa. They are quite devoted. She's the best thing that's ever happened to me, Carl has been quoted. In future years, Carl will take his four sons to Cub Scout outings, games, and play dates. Not to say that it's a cliche, he procreates. But if you're afraid around school you will miss him, then be at HK's football field or gym, where you'll see this dad of four boys shine at the HK graduations of 2022, 2025. 2027, and 2029. Now, just to continue this joke a little further, then consider this about Carl, the father. If his sons follow him up the hill to Wesleyan and be like Dana Delaney and become a thespian, then you'll want to be an attendee at the Wesleyan graduations of 2026, 2029, 2031, and 2033. We wish Carl the brightest of days to come. For him as a person, I'm the first to beat the drum. Hardworking teacher, athlete, and more. Devoted family man, that's for sure. HK was graced by his presence since hour 2 of creation. For that, he's earned a restful vacation. From books, tests, and electronic smart boards, and wave after wave of sophomoric hordes. But there will never be a break from the ideas and people he would never forsake. Any and all should feel their very marrow quake if they think his accomplishments were a mere piece of cake. For those deeds, there's no need of a remake, for he has left an important, valued, and enduring legacy in his wake. Carl Cavrell.
Thank you all for coming. Good to see that some things don't change. And I want to thank you for the gift. And Jim, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here. Thank you very much.
Carl wanted me to tell everybody that Bill Belichick has a beach house down in Madison and invited to the after party afterwards. Should be fun. Bill's quite a partier. Next, Debbie Miles. Deb has been an English teacher at Haddam-Killingworth High School since 1976. As you can imagine, she has served in a variety of roles at HK, including advisor for the school's literary magazine, district curriculum coordinator, cheerleading coach. She really was a cheerleading coach. Department head and chief organizer for the Brit-Lit banquet. Here to offer more words on Deb is her longtime colleague and fellow HK retiree, Dawn Hoffman.
This is very cool. I have not spoken in front of a group of people in about a year. To Debbie Miles, on the occasion of her retirement. There is a difference between being loved and being beloved. The dictionary doesn't really help me pin it down, but we know only too well that the denotative value of a word is only half the story. We need to get down to a word's connotation, its emotional value. This is something that we feel, something that we know instinctively, something that we share as members of a group. We all know that it's nice to be loved, and most of us experience this at some time or other during our lives. But being beloved, that's different. That's a whole other club. You can work at being loved. Many teachers do just that. We've all had students who've loved us, as well as those who today probably couldn't pick us out of a police lineup if their lives depended on it. But there aren't many of us who have been held up by students and colleagues year after year as the one most likely to be remembered into eternity, as the one person on the planet that we would want to stand in for our moms if we needed her to, as the one person who creates safety wherever she is and welcomes us all into it, as the one person for whom literature is a lifestyle and not just a subject, or as the one person who has been the center of our universe for as long as we've known her. You can't work at achieving this. It happens because of who you are. You either have it or you don't. Debbie Miles has it. It's sort of like Finny and Jean in John Knoll's novel, A Separate Piece. Jean tries to be like Finny until he realizes that he is quite simply not of the same quality. No amount of work or determination or persistence or tenacity or whining can change that one simple fact. Debbie, like Finny, is everything teachers want to be, only better because she hasn't had to learn to be patient, kind, nurturing, smart. It's in her nature. She can't help it. And the irony is that she thinks that she's just like the rest of us. But we know differently. We know that when we are with Debbie Miles, we are in the presence of someone who is rare and wonderful. And this is why she is the beloved Mrs. Miles. This is further evidenced by the number of people who wanted to speak in her honor tonight. I finally got to the top of the pecking order. It's taken me a long time. So I polled members of the English department, past and present, and they asked me to share the following comments. Gay Fialco remembered a Britlit banquet years ago where Debbie got Tom to show up in tights. He played Petruchio in The Taming of the Shrew, and I guess we don't have to guess who played the shrew. Don't tell her. On a more serious note, Gay went on to say, Deb was the quiet voice of sanity. She endeared herself to us year after year. She loves her craft of teaching, and her students knew it. But it has taken a toll. It's her time to live and enjoy her life without stress. Debbie, do you know what that's like? It's awesome. I can't wait for you to live. Region 17 has no idea what a space her absence will create, but we do, and we will remember. Beloved. Pam Brockway called Debbie a consummate professional, an excellent creative teacher, a supportive colleague, a student advocate, a smart, organized leader, and a role model with whom it was an honor to work. Beloved. Mac recalls helping Deb spruce up her yard one day with Danny. When they sat down to have lunch, Mac, steeped in that Miles aura, felt Doug's presence, taking part in the camaraderie and laughter that was so much a part of what being with Debbie in school or out of school was about. Beloved. Phil Devlin says, Debbie Miles is the consummate professional. She put her stamp on her Brit Lit class by starting the tradition of the Brit Lit banquet, the treasured memory for hundreds of students and many faculty members. Deb was equally effective in teaching creative writing, American literature, and virtually all other English department classes for all ability levels. Her patience and understanding in guiding colleagues through tasks such as curriculum writing are commendable, and she remains one of the most popular teachers in HK history. And I gotta say that again. She remains one of the most popular teachers in HK history. Hands down. Beloved. Jamie Alessandrine says of Deb, she's one of the best friends I will ever have. Her kindness, wisdom, optimism, and fortitude have meant the world to me. She's been with me in some of the most joyful and the most difficult times of my life, and truly, a girl could not ask for a better friend and colleague. Beloved. Barth Keck says, I knew Deb Miles was a special woman the first time I met her, when she taught the English methods class at my master's program at Quinnipiac. She was knowledgeable, gentle, critical, and helpful all at once. Lucky for me, she made it possible for me to do my student teaching at HK back when we were second to none. Remember those days? Since I have had the honor of working with Debbie, she has been nothing but supportive and inspiring. Debbie Miles is as excellent a colleague as she is a teacher. Beloved. Mike Sarkowski, our department shrinking violet. Yeah, there he is. He might as well have revealed the secrets of the universe when he said, she's the nicest boss I ever had. The nicest person, and this should not go unnoticed, a lover of literature and an academically demanding teacher. What I find so unique about Deb Miles is that if you ever met anyone who didn't get along with her, you knew immediately that you were talking to a terrible person. I have never met a person in my life like that. Deb exudes kindness, and she will be greatly missed by all of us at HK. Beloved, beloved, beloved. You see, it's not just me, and this is just the English department. I mean, can you imagine how long we'd be here if my research stretched out to include the rest of the faculty, past and present, and the thousands of students who passed through Debbie's classroom over the years? Many of those kids left behind cards and gifts, laughter and tears, love and appreciation, and some of them, now adults, still keep in touch and count Debbie among their dearest friends. If that's not beloved, then I don't know what is. But being beloved comes at a price. In Italian, for instance, you knew I'd get around to something Italian sooner or later. In Italian, for instance, cara, C-A-R-A, cara. You see, I'm half Italian, so I only talk with one hand. Cara means dear, like cara mia, my dear. But cara is also the Italian word for expensive, as in, questa macchina è troppo cara. Philip, my Rosetta Stone Italian is doing me well. That means this car is too expensive, troppo cara, too expensive. Sometimes being a subject of adoration can be troppo cara, too expensive. Think of it this way. Look at your kids' favorite dolls and plush toys. The several that they love are scattered around the room, but the few that are beloved, well, they're probably missing body parts, or are split at the seams and have quite literally had the stuffing loved right out of them. That's quite a sacrifice. It seems that a prerequisite of being beloved is the ability to give till it hurts and then some. I have never known anyone who has given so much and had such a profound effect on the life. Now I can't look at you, Jen. Now I can't look at you anymore. Who has had such a profound effect on the lives of people around her as Debbie Miles. Even when her private life was besieged by illness and fear and grief, her public face never wavered. And we would line up at her door every morning, one by one, looking for our daily dose of encouragement and validation. And she would put aside her own problems, overcome exhaustion from the lack of sleep that comes from being a round-the-clock caregiver, and give us what we needed, without hesitation, even though her own heart was breaking. Despite her relentless personal problems, she sat through hours of mindless meetings because they were part of her professional responsibility. She soothed the damaged egos of kids who were learning to deal with life and of adults who should have known better. She took crap from people who then turned around and asked for her help. And she'd help them because they needed her, and she would never turn her back on someone who needed her, even if they had just kicked the stuffing out of her. How lucky are we to know Debbie Miles, to have worked with her. Here, to paraphrase Mark Antony, is our beloved. When comes such a mother? So tonight, for once, we forget about ourselves and let the conversation be about Deb. For once, we forget about how much we need her to take care of us. And instead, we spend the evening taking care of her. We have loved the stuffing out of this woman. And tonight is our chance to put some of it back and sew up the seams. We can't give her back everything she deserves because that would mean we'd have to be her. And we're not, but we can try. And if in retirement, she can get back a fraction of what she has given away over the years, then she will be deliriously happy. She always made it all about us. Tonight, it's all about you, Debbie. You are our beloved, and you always, always will be. Love you. I'm sorry, I made her cry.
I'm a mess. I don't even know what I can say, but just thank you for hanging with me through all the good times and letting me grow old with you and being there through my wedding plans and my marriage and the birth of my son and hopefully grandchildren soon, and listening to all this stuff with the wedding and Brendan and Karen, and most especially, thank you for being there in the last year and a half with the deaths of both of my parents and then the death of my husband. It's wonderful to have family like you folks, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I thank McGee and Donna and everybody else who was involved in making this a really special night. Thank you so much.
I think you get a little sense for what a family Haddam-Killingworth High School is for pretty much everybody who's in this room. And we'd be remiss if we didn't recognize one other member of the family who's retiring this year, and that's Principal Charla Masunas. So I think it's a good time right now if we close out the evening by recognizing, as fellow family members, all of our retiring colleagues with one more round of applause. Thank you, everyone.